What even is money? Wonder where money even came from? Thousands of years ago, before money existed, people used a system called bartering, trading goods like goats for grain or fish for firewood. But this wasn't always convenient. What if a baker didn't want your chickens? Around 3000 BCE, Mesopotamians started using silver as a standardized form of exchange. By 600 BCE, the ancient Lydians in what is now known as Turkey became the first to mint official coins made from electrum, a naturally occurring mix of gold and silver. Fast forward to the 7th century China, and you'll find an earliest form of paper money, a revolutionary idea later adopted by Europe in the 17th century, with Sweden's Stockholm Banco issuing paper notes in 1661. By the 20th century, money evolved again. In 1971, the US fully left the gold standard, making the dollar a fiat currency, meaning it has a value because the government says it does, not because it's backed by gold. Today, most money is digital. In fact, over 90% of the world's currency doesn't even exist. It's just a number on a screen. But despite all these changes, the most important thing has stayed the same. Money only works because you all agree it does. Where does money actually come from? When people think about money being made, they picture giant machines printing bills. But here's the twist. Physical cash only makes up a small fraction of the money in the world. So where does the rest of it come from? In the United States, the creation of a modern money started with the Federal Reserve, established in 1913. It's not a government agency, it's a central bank, and it controls the money supply. Here's how it works. The Fed doesn't just print money, it creates money digitally, often by buying government debt like treasury bonds. When it does that, it credits commercial banks with new reserves. That's a new money created out of thin air. But it doesn't stop there. When you take out a loan, whether it's from a car, a home, or even a credit card, your bank doesn't give you someone else's money. It creates new money by typing it into your account. The system is called fractional reserve banking. For example, if you deposit $1,000, your bank can lend about 9,000 more. That means the banking system is multiplying money through debt. This idea might sound strange, but it's very real. In fact, over 90% of the money in the circulation today as it was created through loans, not printing. Why you always feel like you're behind. If you ever felt like your money doesn't go as far as it used to, you're not imagining things. It's called inflation, and it's the quiet theft that's been draining your wallet for decades. After the US left the gold standard in 1971, the government was no longer limited by physical gold to back its currency. That meant it could create as much money as it wanted, and over time, it did. The problem? The more money that's created, the less each dollar is worth. In 1970, the average price of a home in the US was about $23,000. Today, it's over $400,000. A gallon of gas costs 36 cents. Now, around $3 to $5, depending on where you live. Meanwhile, wages haven't kept up. In fact, when adjusting for inflation, the buying power of the average paycheck has barely increased in 50 years. That's not a coincidence, it's a design feature. Our economy is built on spending and borrowing, not saving. Inflation encourages you to spend now because your money will be worth less tomorrow. And banks, they love it because inflation also erodes the value of your debt over time. So while you're told to work hard and save money, the truth is the system quietly punishes savers and rewards debt and consumption. And that's a major reason why so many people feel like they're treading water even when they're doing everything right. What you were never taught, but what you should have been. You've probably spent over a decade in school, but you even taught how money actually works? Not how to balance a checkbook or clip coupons, but how money is created, how it loses value, and how it builds wealth in a system designed to confuse you. The truth is, most of us weren't, and that's not just an oversight, it's systemic. A financial education population is harder to manipulate, harder to trap in debt, and more likely to ask harder questions. But here's the good news, you're not stuck. Once you understand how the game is played, you can stop being a pawn and start playing to win. This means learning how to use assets, not just income, to build wealth. Understand how inflation, interest affects your choices. Leverage interest, budgeting, and smart debt to your advantage. Think long term and not just paycheck to paycheck. And no, you don't need to be rich to start. You just need to be curious, consistent, and a little patient. If you've watched this far, you're most likely already doing that. But once you see how money actually works, you can start making it work for you.